I can't believe we're 6 months into 2026 and it's officially summer. I'm not complaining though, it's my favorite season of the year, overpowered by fall. Debatable. I think time is so weird. Like it passed by so quickly. I feel like 2 months ago it was just 5 degrees Celsius here in Berlin and now it's close to 30. It is, yeah, time is weird. Time is a social construct. Speaking of time, it is time for our mid-year journal review. I always look forward to this time of the year because it's a great opportunity to reflect on systems, talk about journals and planners. I think I skipped last year's mid-year journal review, so I'm excited to debrief with you today and also talk to you about some of the observations I've had for the past 6 months and how I want to carry over some techniques that I want to still do to keep up with my journaling habit. If you're new here, hi, I'm Abbey. I'm an artist, author, and educator. I'm currently based in Berlin. I love to talk about journaling. I document my life and travels through journaling. So we'll go through my journal pages. I will divide it into everyday journaling and travel journaling, and for each section I'm also gonna be showing the planners that I use. Not all of them, but some that I use regularly as part of my practice. I think they go hand in hand with journaling. Also, these two terms are a bit played around depending on how you use them. I personally think planning is anything that requires scheduling and like doing things in advance, and journaling is the part where I am looking back on a certain time period and writing about that. So that's gonna be the definition for today's video. Today's video is in partnership with Squarespace. More on that later. And also I put up my website already. I will share more about that. So yeah, let's get into the video and I'm gonna show you what's on my desk. We're starting off with my planner. This is a traveler's notebook, regular size. It's in olive. As you can see, I added a little bit more extra charms. So this was a gift from my friends who went to Korea. I thought it just fit really nicely with my TN, and also added this charm. 1221. If you know, you know. It's from Heated Rivalry. This was also given to me by another friend, Ariel. So yeah, let's see what's inside. So this setup has not changed. I think the only addition was this field notes that houses my Patreon notes. So Patreon takes up most of my time, and also it's my place to creatively experiment. So this is like my initial notes on, you know, just observations. They rolled out some new features recently, so that has been my, you know, I've been taking notes, I'm trying out new things, and this is a way for me to write all of the things that I need to work on for Patreon. And then this is my monthly view. So let's pick out, wait, let me show you what's an example. Okay, so here's like May and June. So you will see that most of the things I track are my travels, my deadlines. I also have my meetings, and socials are also here just so I know how to schedule the day. But that's pretty much it. I don't really use it as a deco or anything. It's just really functional. I love the empty pages at the back because this is where I sort of brainstorm about work, also figure out what I'm gonna work on this year. I also have been thinking about like if I'm going to have some themes for every month, and this is what I have written so far. So it's a place for me to brainstorm and also figure out things that are working, aren't working, and how I want to shift those around moving forward. This one is my GU. So GU is a planner that's undated. It's released by Baumkuchen, and this is the weekly version. I really love this because I tried using it last year in August, and was it August? Yeah, around this time last year I started using it, I would say, and it has been really great for me. Like, as you can see, it has been filled to the brim. The main thing being, I love that it's undated. For example, I'm traveling, then I could skip that week. Here's a closer look at my to-do lists and tasks. I am an analog girly through and through. Like, I need to write everything down here, as you can see. I also have been making good use of this pen. This is the Hobonichi Techo pen, which is the Uni Jetstream, and I need all these three colors. I feel like they go hand in hand. Red for deadlines, blue for schedule, and black for everything else. This is a very good example. Sometimes I'm also gonna write like work blocks so I know what times I can work, and based on the time available, I could figure out how much I'm gonna work on or what tasks can be fit in that time block. I've been doing freelance for more than 10 years now, and I know like it's tricky to navigate how productivity means. So I'm trying to have a better relationship with that too, because for example, if I don't finish a task for Tuesday, I can just move it to Wednesday. I do want to credit the bullet journal method. I do use a lot of bullet journaling for this particular planning setup. That's to say, I really, really love this setup. I'm still going to be continuing using this, and I just love how handy it is. It has been something that I bring around with me, especially if I need to work from a cafe, or if I just need to plan on my desk, or if I am working from the kitchen, which sometimes I do with my coffee. It's just super easy to grab and go, and I think a big plus for me is this slim size compared to like an A5 notebook, so I really, really love this. Next up, we have my daily journal. She's got a new look, guys. Okay, so this is my Hobonichi Tetro. Probably look different at the start of the year. I like to switch it up from time to time. I change the covers, add patches. So this is my new addition. Right now, it has a patch that says "The winner takes it all." And if you are an Abbey fan, you know what this means. So my journal has been pretty good recently. I've really enjoyed just capturing details here. And this is actually my third year using a Hobonichi Tetro. You can find a lot more videos on my channel where I share some ideas on how I document in this format. I think the main thing that has kept me continuously updating this format is the small size. I think I don't spend way too much time on the sticking and also the designing. I tend to just navigate it as like, okay, what's on my desk? Like literally, these are what's on my desk right now. I have like these stickers. So more or less, I will use them later for journaling. So around spring or summer or autumn, I try to pick out stickers that I know I would use for that time of year. And from there, that's the one that I use kind of like a capsule situation. For example, this was like winter time, so I still had some winter related stationery, and also it was Chinese New Year. One thing that has also kept me consistent with this is the fact that I don't overthink every single thing that I need to write. It's a very matter-of-fact play-by-play of what happened that day. Sometimes I just find my humor a bit like funny here. It's basically like how I would tell you what happened in a day if you were my friend. Like that's the vibe. Let's find a recent entry. Okay, this one I really like because I also want to share that I am now a Skillshare top teacher thanks to my students at Skillshare and the Skillshare team. Okay, so June 11, decided to clear out most of today since my meeting wasn't gonna be until 9 p.m. I did like a bullet system here. Sometimes I do that if I'm not in the mood to write in paragraphs. Experimented plus updated my travel journal. Worked on mail, watched movies, stepped out for a drugstore and grocery run and for air. I got a voice note from Martin of Modular, and OMG, I'd like to think the universe truly provides. So this was a voice note that I got from someone I was working with, and some good news. Got takeout for dinner and made a Swedish-inspired late lunch, meatballs and sardo. Evening meeting with Nicola, and she finally added my top teacher badge. Crying, feeling so grateful. So that's mostly what I write in a day, and I just keep it as simple as that. I also want to share that not all days are nice. Like this was a bit annoying because the ink was kind of all over the place. I love it when things just match in terms of color, but it's not usually a requirement. That's my creative challenge every day. Like, okay, what ink can I use? What pen has this green ink? How can I kind of make the left page and the right page look good? At the end of the day, it's not about like, oh, it has to be aesthetically pleasing. It's just, I think it's just enough to capture what the essence of the day was. So for example, this one is Berlin to Arlanda, which is in Stockholm. And you can immediately tell that I traveled because I wrote it there. And also I used this tape that shows like an immigration check thing, right? So it's very like simple, but also not super like well decorated that I would spend like 30 minutes just deciding what sticker to use. Like that for me is not something I would do because I don't want to waste my time thinking of those things. Getting into summer, you'll see a lot more vibrant colors. a lot more. I love this one. It's from the Yayoi Kusama exhibit. I love just playing around with the inks I have, and for me, that's really the most important thing that I'm doing in my journal, apart from capturing the days, of course. Before we continue, this video is sponsored by Squarespace. Squarespace is the all-in-one website platform designed to help you stand out and succeed online. Squarespace gives you everything you need to claim your domain, showcase your offerings with a professional website, grow your brand, and get paid all in one place. I've been personally working on my website recently, and honestly the hardest part was picking a template because there's just so much templates that you could use in Squarespace. It's a great jumping off point to figure out how you want to design your website, you know, from the look and feel to the typography, colors, fonts. And with the variety of options you can choose from, it's really a great place to experiment creatively on how you want your website to feel like and look like. I found that it was super seamless to work inside Squarespace because once you kind of get the hang of where to put these pages or how to attach links or which colors to use for this particular button, apart from the visuals, which are obviously very important, it's also important to figure out the back end of things, especially if you have offerings that you want to share. I finally managed to add pages for every single offering that I had. So I have a books page, I have a classes page, I have a freelance work page, and also some personal projects so that people could see the range of work that I could create and I could share and I could potentially collaborate with other brands and other potential clients. I love that it's housed all in one place with built-in tools for scheduling and invoicing as well, so it becomes a seamless process altogether. I'm also excited to share that finally I'm going to be starting a blog. I used to blog like in the early 2000s, 2010s, but those are more like personal, and what I want to do with Squarespace is to have a blog to use as a creative resource in case you wanted to read more about the journal system that I'm using. So I'm really excited to work on that. It's gonna be my summer project. When you're ready to launch, head to squarespace.com/abc to get 10% off your first purchase of a website or a domain using code ABC. Thank you, Squarespace, and now let's head back to the video. So when it comes to travel, I like to have a pocket notebook nearby that I bring with me every trip. I have always been using the Field Notes pocket notebook. This is the memo book. This is the Chicago edition. And then recently I've been using my Plotter Mini 5, which I'll show more of later. I think I've noticed that I tend to use the Field Notes more when it's a longer trip, and then the Plotter one where it's a shorter trip, like 3 to 4 days. So this one is special because it's the Chicago edition, and I wrote my Chicago notes here. So this was kindly gifted to me by the Field Notes team when I visited the HQ last March. Tyler took me, Tyler of Paper and Pencil. So thank you, Tyler, for taking me around that day. I wanted to intentionally plan my trip, so I even put like a budget here. And yeah, I did a lot of math actually. So daily log, because the first half of the trip I was traveling alone, so I had more leeway in deciding like where to eat, what to do. And then the last half I was mostly with Christine and Job, and we were at Andersonville at the Chicago Stationery Fest. So I write a lot of the happenings that have happened that day, especially with like details that I tend to forget. It's really, really important for me to write them down in a notebook. Specifically, like if we went to a certain cafe that is not on my maps or something that wasn't in my radar. This is also something a bit more freeform. I don't have like a template for this. I just write. This is something I usually do. I was hoping to reach the halfway mark so I could write the rest of my New York trip here, but this was going to be also for New York since I figured like having a US memo book makes sense, and so I wrote Chicago and New York there. I was gifted this Plotter Mini 5 by the Plotter USA team, and I think this has been a great addition to my travel planning. Right now, I found a really, really cute ballpoint pen. So this ballpoint pen is just perfect for the pen holder here. I know it can seem really small, but I think it's just enough to capture things that I need to note for journaling. So this is a peek at how I logged my Stockholm trip. There was a lot to do and a lot to see, so I actually wrote so much. I really love picking up tidbits and info from a city that I visit. And while I was there, I was doing a lot of research. I actually really, really loved that trip. And that research led me to start my own digital garden, which is something I'll share in the future. Apart from the days, I also wrote tech notes because I brought 2 cameras for that trip. So it was also an exercise in like, which one do I reach out for? Which one is easier for me to work with? I also like to write sometimes of everything I got, like just a shopping log, just so I know what damage I've done. So you have it here. More info about like public art, like who designed certain sculptures in the city. It's very niche, but I find a lot of fulfillment in researching and getting to know these facts. And I think that for me is the enriching part of traveling, so I make sure to incorporate that here as well. Since this is a ring system, I have already taken out my notes from Warsaw, from Cologne, from other projects, and they're archived in a little box I have in my office. So I don't store that much here, but it's enough to like write a few days worth of traveling, right? I actually, if I have like a small bag, this is the only thing I bring because it's just easy. Of course, we have the journaling part. So I am happy to report that I have filled up a couple of these pages here from how many trips have I gone to? Three trips. So this year I decided to intentionally downsize my travel journal system. So this is the Traveler's Notebook passport size. The reason is because I just figured that having a smaller system means I don't have to spend way too much time with journaling. So right now we have a very simple setup. I have a yellow submarine here. It's a yellow submarine patch, and then I have this zip case thing from Traveler's Company. I got this from Japan last year. And then I'm using the Love and Trip insert and cover. Shout out to Job for gifting me this for my birthday. And right now I have a couple of pages. So I have pages from Warsaw. It's one way to say that you don't have enough space to put your travel ephemera. But for me, it's an exercise in figuring out what to keep and what to throw away, you know? Like, I think in general for Warsaw, a lot of my tickets made it to the spread anyway. Trips I went to, they didn't really have that much ephemera, or at least I wasn't really collecting as much as I expected. This also allowed me more time to just decorate with existing stationery I already have. And again, like elimination, like I could have pasted the whole Ortloff paper bag, but I just cut up the logo type and just put it in. It's not obvious, but this is actually from the Lego store, this Dusseldorf stamp here. So I just pasted it there. It's just, it actually blends in pretty seamlessly, which is really cool. I actually haven't shared this, but here are some pages from my Stockholm trip. I think I had the same philosophy of keeping what I know would make sense, but also eliminating the rest. So for example, for the Nobel Prize Museum, this was like a big map of numbers. I just needed a tidbit of it just to show that I went to the Nobel Prize Museum. This has to be my favorite because it was really a way for me to experiment with existing materials I have. And then going back, I also incorporated fun ways to journal. So I also went to a lot of train stations. So that's me, the Rainbow train station in Stadion. This was fun. Ephemera from Sweden. Very bright, pops of color. Love to see it. This isn't really my first time using a passport size, so I definitely enjoyed. The last time I did use this was, I think 2024 travels. I was using passport size as well in Europe, and I had similar style spreads for my Copenhagen trip, which is also in Scandinavia and Denmark. I would say this downsizing for me has really been helpful in figuring out what I really wanted to document. And I think I have had a toxic trait before of wanting to do as many spreads as possible for every trip. Then I realized, like, you don't have to. Who says that? Like, I think just enough to know what you experience and how you wanted to capture and remember the trip is more than important versus like making sure that you have each specific spread that you had in mind. Like sometimes it just doesn't work that way. I'm glad that I ended up using this smaller size, honestly. I think I am a passport convert, and it only took me a couple of years to get into it, but I'm really happy with this system. That's it for my mid-year journal review. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know in the comments what you thought of the systems that I'm using, and I hope you picked up some ideas also as you do your own reflection, or as we say, our techo kaigi for mid-year, because I think it's really important, especially leading up to around end of August, September, where it's like planner season. Before that, it's good to have a sense of what's working, what's not working, what's gonna be on your shopping list, and you know, before we know it's gonna be 2027. I don't even want to think about that. Also this month, I shared a PDF of my 2025 travel journal. So I was using regular size last year, and this is a really meaty look at how I document my travels for your visual pleasure and journaling inspiration. It's going to be a downloadable PDF. If you'd like to check that out, head to my Patreon to access it. I'm also gonna make it available as a one-off item in case you wanna purchase it. I hope to see you at the club. It's a great way to support this channel and my creative journey. Thank you so much to my patrons for allowing me to live and work as an artist here in Berlin. I would love to know what your summer plans are. Let me know if you are going somewhere and traveling. Speaking of travel, I can't wait to see some of you in New York this July for Stationery Fest. It's going to be my only US stop for the year this summer. So I guess I'm an East Coast girly this year. I went to Chicago in the winter and then New York in the summer. So I'm looking forward to meeting some of you at the fest. This year I decided to really intentionally spend my summer here in Berlin. I love Berlin summers, as I mentioned earlier, and I never get to spend it fully here because I'm always traveling to the US, which I love. I love seeing some of you. I love seeing my friends, but now that I feel a little bit more settled in my city, I really want to enjoy the mundanity of it all, because I don't know, there's just something about the sun here and also the energy that I can't quite explain, especially the peak of the summer. And I'm really excited to experience that for myself because I think I owe myself that as a Berliner. That being said, I also have been thinking a lot about how I can capture these little moments because they make me feel the most alive. I don't know how to explain it, but there's a certain kind of consciousness that I feel when I know that I am fully alive in this moment, and it's brought about by certain details of my days. While journaling is a great way to do that, I want to have a container to be able to write things quickly. So when Field Notes sent me their Explore America series, by the way, these notebooks are really, really pretty. Like, look. It's so pretty. When they sent me this, I was like, okay, I'm gonna pick one and then I'm gonna record my summer. So I don't plan to print out stuff. I just want to write things like with a black pen. That's basically it. It's Field Notes in collaboration with 59 Parks. And if you live in the US, go visit a national park. I went to national parks last summer. It was gorgeous. And I personally love this one. Yeah, my heart is always in SF. Where was that? The Big Sur one is actually really pretty as well. I love the pops of flowers. So I'm gonna be using this to log my summer. I'm gonna print a little Dymo label here in black that says summer. And the plan is I'm gonna write everything that I want to remember about this summer. Maybe it could be an idea for you as well if you want to be able to capture moments more and record them real time. Recording is a whole other thing, especially because when I'm traveling, I tend to absorb things so well because they're fairly new. But for everyday life, I take a lot of things for granted. So it's going to be this constant effort to really pay attention. The only way I am able to live a creative life and enjoy the fact that I do is by paying attention to the present, what's in front of me, what I'm doing. I think it's a really difficult concept to grasp, but I have been really inspired by this movie called Perfect Days, where the main character says, next time is next time, now is now. And as much as I want summer to be forever, I think by preserving the moments and paying attention to where I am right now and what I'm doing and how I'm spending the season is going to be a great reminder of the good days, dare I say. Mostly because winter is very depressing, but yeah. Anyway, enough of my blabbering. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you have a lovely summer. I'll see you around and take care, everyone. Bye!